Let me now invite Rohit Raj Modi. He's the Secretary of CREDAI. He's now joining us on the phone line. He's the Secretary of the industry body CREDAI, not Vice President. I'm going to ask the producers to correct that. He's Secretary of CREDAI. Hi Rohit, thanks so much for joining us. This is Nayan. You know, I've been speaking with a whole host of people, part of the GST Council meet, the idea being like restaurants, builders should get no input tax credit because all of you are guilty for not passing on the benefit of the lower GST rates to the buyers. Having said that, for builders, a bonanza may come because it's an anomaly that may get corrected. There used to be no service tax when all of you entered into joint development agreements with landowners. That may be corrected today.
Nayantara, I would beg to differ on the first point that you mentioned, that the developer community is guilty of not passing input tax credit. If the facts be checked, you would find that post-implementation of GST, the developers, by and large, I'm not vouching for 100% adherence, but by and large, have been passing the input tax credit that they derived on their procurement cost of goods and services. If you were to look at maybe even invoices of a large number of developers in NCR, for example, you would find that on every invoice, 4 to 6% of input tax credit is being passed on to all those buyers who were in a purchase contract prior to implementation of GST, and for those buyers who came to buy housing units post-implementation of GST, the price list itself was adjusted. But having said that, what we are discussing today is the proposed amendment that the government, the GST Council wishes to bring of 5% with no ITC and 3% with no ITC in the affordable segment, as we have got to learn from media sources that these are the GOM's recommendation to the Council. I think this has to be seen in a larger context, that the consumer demand may get spurned higher because of the lower outgo from a consumer's pocket, even though this may have an additional burden on the developer's costing structure.
Okay, so, you're saying that this may have an inflationary impact, Rohit. Is that the subtext basically of what you're telling me? Because, the government's point is that despite availing input tax credit, all of you have failed to pass on that benefit to the buyers. Now, the builders are being stubborn. They don't want the true market rate. They are okay with sales not lifting. And maybe this is a way for the government to force builders to cut prices. Could that be the other way to look at it? It is election season.
Not entirely, because unlike most of the other industry, a real estate or a housing production cycle is 4 to 6 years long. And in middle of this, we had this event of GST being implemented. It is not easy for any authority to very clearly mark out that how much credit has been availed and how much has been passed. Also, you have to keep in mind that sales have been very slow, which has been very well documented across all kind of media and publication in last 3 years. So when the sales are slow, the developers have been incurring an input, which is input credit, which is accruing at their side without much sales happening. So in that case, one doesn't even know that at the end of the day, how much input credit can a developer avail, because post-construction, you cannot avail input tax credit. It has to be reversed in proportion to your unsold inventory.
Okay, Rohit, I'm sorry I'm interjecting you over there, but thanks for joining us. Let's cut back.